Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Right now, we're joined by Big Dave Manners. He's over on the North Coast chasing steelhead with his clients, and it's cold. What's the temperature over there right now?
I think we're just getting above freezing right now. In the shade, it's still real cold, but where the sun's hitting, it's warming up now. It's warming up.
Well,
you can still see it frozen on this bank right here.
Oh, man. And whoever's holding the phone for you, man, we appreciate you doing that. Your hands got to be getting cold. We appreciate you doing that for us very, very much. Okay, so things are starting to warm up a little bit. As the day starts to progress, when you're back on the water, you're floating, you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, are you going to change things up as things get warmer? Are you going to start using bait, just beads, yarnies? I mean, what are you going to be fishing for or fishing with once you get back at it?
I'm using all three things that you just mentioned right now. I'm not going to really, the way I kind of have been approaching this is I'm trying not to burn through the water that I think the fish are at before we get into this warmer temperature. I can tell you we had one warmer day this week, but most these days when it's cold, I don't really hook anything till 9:30, 10 o'clock. So that's one thing, where I might be in a hole like the one I'm in right now that I know there's fish in here. We haven't had a bite, but here just in a little bit, it's going to warm up, and I think they'll start operating.
Well, that's a good strategy. Obviously, I mean, if you just blow right by good water before the fish are even going to be turned on, you're just blowing your opportunity, right? I mean, that's the theory behind it?
Yes.
Now,
yep.
In those situations, say the water is now warming up, is there a time where you might be more apt to throw, say, a gaba eggs or a yarny or a bead or a jig or something else? I mean, is there a reason or something that might come up where you decide that you're going to go from one to the other?
Usually what I'll do is I'll start with the most subtle thing I can, and then I'll build up from there. So a lot of times it'll be a bead first, and then I'll work up to a jig, and then even size up on that. But I'll usually start small, and then I'll go a little bit bigger just to see, and then maybe go back to going with smaller stuff again. But really right now, I can't tell you that they're going to bite one better than the other.
Overall, since the last time we had a chance to talk to you before the river, last time we talked to Dave, everyone, the conditions were absolutely opposite. They were high, blown out. Everything was just hammered.
Yeah.
And now the exact opposite. It's just a 180 of what we were talking about just a handful of weeks ago. So, of course, things have changed. But up to now, have the fish shown up a little bit before things dropped out and got cold and clear on you?
So when we got blown out and everything was blown out. When it came back in, it was pretty decent fishing for that time of year. Not the numbers that you're going to see here, soon, but it was pretty good fishing. And as that water dropped and it's gotten low and clear now, not as many fish are coming in. Not as many are coming in. Next time it rains, though, I mean, it'll be the same thing. Fish will start moving. New fish will come in, and that's kind of how it'll work for the rest of the season.
Well, right now, as a duck hunter, I'm working on nothing but stale birds that have been around for a while. Take that to steelhead and salmon for that matter, but we're talking about winter steelhead, everyone. They get stale as well. They start seeing a bunch of boats that are going by in these conditions. They get really spooky. Is there ever a time where you might go away from that deep water and maybe try to find them in shallower waters or areas where they might be put off into a channel, or is it just strictly try to stick with that deeper water?
No, definitely not. I mean, I'm fishing the deep water, but your walking speed, if you can find stuff that's 4 to 5 feet deep, that has a little bit of structure, a little bit of rocks and some shelves, they like to hold in that kind of stuff too. Oh, we just got snagged. Sorry. Yeah, but different water. They're still in the tail outs, but probably more, maybe a little bit earlier in the morning, or if they haven't been messed with. If you get pressure, then that's when they're going to move, or where they really like to go are up under trees. If you've got trees, they'll go right inside the trees, where you just can't get to them. I've seen that happening a lot too, where, you get a big whole tree in the water and they're literally in the tree hiding out in there.
Right, and if you get a bait to one of them, you're done. He might eat it,
Yeah.
but you ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
12-pound, 15-pound or not, you get one of those big coastal steelhead by a tree, you're in serious trouble. Okay, so obviously things are going to stay this way for a while. I'm sure you pay attention, of course, more so than anyone, really, what these river conditions are forecasted to do. They're supposed to stay this way for the next handful of days. At least the next 7 days is what the forecast is. Do you see anything changing for you going forward? Do these fish become more apt to bite as things go on, or does it just get tougher and tougher and tougher each day as these conditions progress?
Well, I think we're early enough in the season right now where even though we have this real low water, there's still some fish that are going to come in. And there's steelhead, these aren't Chinook where, they don't really need any water. So there's still some that are going to come in, but you're not going to see, those big pushes of fish till we get some water.
Yeah, gotcha. No doubt about it. Now, last question.
There's few.
Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Last question for you before we got to wrap things up. Overall, how's the crowd been up to this point? And with these conditions, do you expect the crowd to get even lighter up and down the coast?
Yeah, not a lot of people fishing. I mean, it's like I said, it's low and clear, and it hasn't been super productive. Not a ton of pressure. Not a ton. Little this week, weekend, there's going to be, obviously more people, but during the week, there hasn't been a ton of people. But like I said, it's been tough fishing.
Now, everyone, we always ask Dave and all of our guides that we have a chance and lucky enough to talk with if they have availability. We already know that Dave is booked pretty solid, but if you do reach out to Dave, we've been showing you his information on how you can either get out and do some fishing with him or some of his other folks that he does work with, or if you want to stay at one of the coolest places on the coast, get a hold of him. The Wilson River Lodge is just absolutely beautiful, and him and his family will treat you like your family when you do get over there. But Dave, as always, man, thanks for spending a few minutes with us while you warm up. I hope that you get warmed back up and that the rods start to bend.
There we go. You guys have a great day.
You too, bud. Good luck. Be safe, okay?
Bye-bye.
That's Big Dave Manners, again, owner of Big Dave's Guided Adventures. I got it right again. All right, we're going to cut to a break. When we come back, we're going to have our Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week. Now, this isn't a new tech tip for us. This is about yarnies. Y'all know what a yarnie is, and if you don't, you're going to learn when you come back from this break. But I'm going to give you my favorite way to run a yarnie, to tie your own yarnie. Simple, very, very easy to do, and yet still gives you an egg loop to run eggs with it. Definitely a good one. We'll be back in just a minute.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Yakima Bait, steeped in tradition, innovation, and fishing success. Procure Bait Sense, ruthlessly effective. And by North American Metals Incorporated, first choice for all your metal roofing and siding needs.